Hi, everybody. It's Miss Bagby. Today I'm going to read a story that's special to me from when I was a little girl. It's called The Shoemaker and the Elves. It's a folk tale from Germany. It's special to me because my family's from Germany, and when I was little, my mother used to read this to me and my brothers before Christmas. The Shoemaker and the Elves, retold by Ellen Wetterstein, illustrations by Mary Haverfield. Once there was a shoemaker. He lived with his wife in a small house. They were very poor. The shoemaker had only a small piece of leather left. It was enough to make one pair of shoes. That night, he cut out the shoes. Then he went to bed. The next morning, the shoemaker woke up early. He went to his workbench. To his great surprise, both shoes were finished. The shoemaker looked closely at the shoes. Each stitch was carefully done. He called to his wife, "Look at these shoes. They are beautiful." Just then a rich man came into the shop. He liked the shoes and tried them on. They fit well. He paid a good price for them. That night he cut out the shoes. Oops, skipped a page, excuse me. Later, the shoemaker's wife said, "You never have been paid so much for a pair of shoes." The shoemaker used the money to buy more leather. He had enough to make 2 pairs of shoes. That night, he cut out the shoes. He left the leather pieces on the workbench. Then he went to sleep. In the morning, he found the shoes finished. It was just as before. 2 customers came into the shop. They paid him well for the shoes. Now he had enough money to buy leather for 4 pairs of shoes. I wonder who's doing all this work. That night he cut out the shoes. He left them on the workbench. In the morning the 4 pairs of shoes were finished. Again, each stitch was carefully done. The shoes were beautiful. It was always the same. Each night the shoemaker cut out the leather. In the morning the shoes were finished. The news of the wonderful shoes spread through the town. Now customers waited at the door each morning. Soon the shoemaker was a rich man. He said, "Who is helping us? I want to know. Let's stay up tonight and see." His wife lit a candle. She put it on the workbench. There were some coats hanging in a corner of the room. The couple hid behind them. That's pretty smart of them. They're going to hide and find who's making the shoes. The clock struck midnight. The door opened. 2 tiny little men burst into the room. They were elves! The shoemaker and his wife could not believe their eyes. The elves climbed up on the workbench. They stitched, they sewed, they hammered. Their little fingers worked quickly. What do you think the shoemaker and his wife are going to do? Do you think they're going to jump out and try to catch the elves? Let's see. The elves did not stop for a minute. When the work was done, they skipped out the door. The shoemaker said, "The little men have made us rich. We must show our thanks." What can the shoemaker and his wife do to show their thanks to the elves? Talk to someone at your house and see what you think they might do. The shoemaker's wife said, "It is now winter. It is very cold. The little men were wearing tattered clothes. I will sew them something nice and new to wear. You can make them shoes." The 2 worked all the next day. Finally, everything was ready. They put their gifts on the workbench. Then they hid behind the coats again. Would the elves like their new shoes? Their new clothes? At midnight, the elves came in. They climbed up on the workbench. Then they saw the gifts. They smiled. Everything was just their size. They quickly put on the clothes and shoes. What do you think is going to happen next? Do you think the shoemaker and his wife are going to come out from behind the curtain and make friends with the elves? Let's read and find out. The elves were happy. They sang, "Now we are so fine to see, why should we workers be?" The little man danced around the room. Then they skipped out of the door. The shoemaker and his wife never saw the elves again, but good luck was with them, and it lasted the rest of their lives. That's what you get for being nice to someone. How did the shoemaker and the elves help each other? Can you tell about a time when you helped someone else? What happened? Write a comment about what happened when you helped someone else. Enjoy the story, The Shoemaker and the Elves. Bye.